Hello, I wanted to come on here and talk about a big part of the level up journey, controlling your emotions. So I have come a long ways with controlling my emotions. I didn't have good examples growing up of people doing this. I had people lashing out, being emotionally explosive, just crazy. And honestly, this is the hardest part on my level up journey. I'm really good at it now, but I just got good at it. And I feel like I feel like there were plenty of times where I wasn't being myself. I was just doing what I saw my mom and dad do, which was yell, scream, get angry. Yeah, that. And each time I did that, I was acting out of character. I was like, wait, that's not really who I am. Like, why am I acting like this? Because I thought that was how men and women relate, because that was the only thing I saw growing up. Yelling, fussing, fighting all the time, that kind of thing. And so if you don't learn, healthy ways of expressing yourself, or you've had bad examples of how to communicate, it's going to sabotage your future. And you might end up with a lack of relationships in your life, a long time of being single, or just not getting what you want. And I did have an emotional outburst the last time I was dating, but I feel like it was intentionally provoked, and it just I feel like stuff just kept building up until I was just like, get out of my house. I literally said that. I said, get the F out of my house. And I was like, oh my God, that is not ladylike. That is not who I am. Like, why did I say that? And so I realized, you guys like my slick bun? I just tried this hairstyle for the first time. So I realized, I had some more inner work to do, because I was basically embodying the energy of my parents and how they communicated with each other. It really opened the door up for me to realize that, I was never taught to communicate properly, or to regulate my emotions, or to stand up for myself. None of that stuff. I was not taught that. So I've been reading books, I've been doing shadow work, and I've been meditating, I've been journaling, and I'm so glad to finally get to this point where I feel like I'm in control of my emotions. And it really helps with decision making too, being logical, not acting out on emotions. And this can show up, when I'm listening to level up advice and they're saying oh, you got to go to this place, you got to go to that place, you got to go to that place. And I'm like, oh, really? Let me go to those places. And then I do that, and then I spend a bunch of money at these places that I can't really afford to be at. And then I'm like, oh my God, looking at my bank account, why did I spend $50 on 2 items? And then I'm like, oh, that was an emotional decision that I made. So things like that, we gotta start thinking rationally. I know for me, I make irrational decisions often, like I just showed you an example of, because I think I'm doing something for my greater good, my future, but then later down the road, it wasn't a full good outcome. It might have been yeah, it was good for me to be in that environment, but it wasn't good for me to spend outside of my budget. And then I end up suffering the consequences for that action. So to really, get in control of my emotions and stop making illogical bad decisions, it really helps for me to live a slow life. I cannot be the type where I'm rushing around, going here and there. I need time to stop, breathe, think, weigh the pros and the cons of every decision I make breathe in my body, feel what it's like to think, am I making a good decision for my overall well-being, or is this a irrational decision that I'm making out of emotion in the long run? Will my future self thank me for this decision? And you intuitively get, a feeling in your body whether you should go forward with that or not. And you got to listen to that. I used to think making quick decisions was amazing. Another irrational decision I made about what I majored in college. So I was watching The Devil Wears Prada, and I was like, oh, wow, that looks fun. I want to do what she's doing and whatever. Got into journalism communications and didn't figure out it wasn't for me until I wasted so much time. And the thing is, when I was in school, I intuitively knew that I had the wrong major, but I was so scared to start all over. I was like, oh my God, I came this far. Like, I don't want to start all over and, spend more time in school, take out more loans. But I should have, because that small decision would have set me up for my adult life. And I just want, young girls coming after me to make better decisions and not be so illogical and act out of emotions. You have to be strategic on every decision you make, because those decisions are going to add up, and then you're going to look back and be like, why is my life not how I want it? Why isn't my life, amazing like this person's, amazing like that person? And you're going to be like, oh my God, what's going on? It comes down to the decisions you make. So I had the mindset like, it doesn't matter what I major in, I'm going to make the most of it regardless. And I am a very positive person. But it comes to a point where you gotta be logical once again. And I talked to you guys about this on the previous video. I didn't really have a masculine figure who would be like a representative of that logical energy. So, Google was the best. Google was the best. Even teachers and parents, they all said this cliche stuff like, oh, just do what you love. But so yeah, it's funny because people compliment me on how patient I am. And it's funny because while I am patient, I'm not 100% perfect. And it only takes that one time for people to, see you mess up and then they're done. So that's why it's so important to control your emotions. It will get you further in life, just in everything, really. And breathing, meditating, writing down, journaling, writing down things, say, is this good for my future? Is it not? That will really, really, really help. And I have made a lot of irrational decisions in my life, and looking back on it, it's so funny to just laugh at, because I'm like, what kind of thought process was I in? And if I would have just taken a few moments to just breathe, sit down, meditate, journal, I would have made a better decision. So yes, I feel like being differentiating emotion from logic is a woman's superpower, because a lot of us are naturally more emotional. And once we get a hold of our emotions and become more balanced and actually think what is in our best interest, I feel like we're unstoppable at that point. And once I breathe before I make a decision, I automatically am naturally more logical. So I don't think it's that I'm more not logical. I just think I didn't have a good example of how to process emotions in childhood. And I think, me being at such a young age, being a sensitive, intuitive child, I think that's why a lot of adults got triggered, because they sense, maybe I was more logical than adults, even at my young age. And I used to ask questions, and the adults just used to lash out at me, and almost as if they were offended of what I was asking. And so I feel like it is in our natural power to be logical as women. I just think there's so much brainwashing and deconditioning that we need to dissipate from our parents or adult figures or TV or what people tell you is better for you. A lot of it is BS, and it feels better once you get to the truth of things and get to the heart of the matter of what you really want to do. Not what you think your ego wants, not what you think will make you look good, not what you think will make you, better than the next person, but what you actually want to do. And I'm dealing with this right now with trying to find another job that is more suitable for me. The job I'm at, it does pay well. However, I don't like it, not even a little bit. And all of the jobs I do like, it's kind of like the opposite. They don't pay well. So I'm weighing the pros and the cons about how can I fix this issue of the jobs I don't want to do are high paying and the jobs I do want to do are low paying. So I am being logical on trying to figure that out right now and seeing how I can get the best, have my cake and eat it too in this situation. So yeah, girls, I just want you to be more logical in this world, especially today where it seems like things are a bit disimbalanced in some areas, but it is amazing. Once we tap into that logical side of us and put our emotions on the back burner, we're unstoppable. Let me know what you think. Have you come a long ways with being emotional and rational? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks.